Welcome to the Garden News Weekly Roundup. I'm Sean.
And I'm Allison, and here's what's happening in gardening this week.
Five garden trends for 2024. Will you be trying any of these this year?
Stumperies, what are they and how can they benefit your garden?
The new Pantone color of the year. Love it or hate it?
Sea bites and the amazing inventors behind this awesome product.
And the top 5 garden topics watched on our YouTube channel this week.
Okay, first topic on the list, garden trends for 2024. Whether you follow trends or not, it's just fun to see what's coming up or predicted in the new year. And this list of trends is actually a shortened list from the original, which came from a group called Garden Media Group. They're a company in the garden industry, in the horticulture industry, that kind of work behind the scenes. And they do a lot of different things, but one of the big things they do is come up with a trend report every year. And everybody else kind of talks and discusses this trend report as we go into the new year. So we're referencing their original report as well as a marthastewart.com article that we found, both of which will be linked down below. One of the first trends on the list, we're curious to see what you'll think of this one, is sci-fi in the garden. Think of bold, bright, even neon type colors, kind of complementing plants in your garden. The idea is to have crazy alien looking plants or just unusual shapes that kind of look straight out of a sci-fi movie. Other examples of how to incorporate sci-fi in the garden is to create closed ecosystem terrariums, create survivalist gardens, have night gardens, or any type of plants that have foliage with star patterns or silver colors in them that just kind of look otherworldly. The next trend on the list is goth gardening. So goth gardening is thinking about decorating or designing your garden with dark, moody elements, plants, or even statuary. Some go as far as to decorate in a graveyard. The way to incorporate this type of trend in your garden is adding dark colored foliage. There's some really cool plants coming on the market next year that actually have this beautiful dark foliage, and we'll talk more about that later in the new year. Flower colors that are dark, like black colored tulips or black begonias or things like that. Creating memorial gardens, or adding other types of moody, creative elements to your garden. The next trend on our list to tell you about is called something like bugging out. And what it is actually incorporating more bugs, butterflies, bees, what have you, inside the house as design. So any kind of design that's inspired by the outdoors that includes these bugs. And beyond that, it's adding more pollinator-friendly plants to your garden so you can support these pollinators as they travel throughout your garden. So really not that much different than adding more pollinator-friendly plants, but it's even incorporating more and going beyond and learning more about how these bugs support your garden. The fourth trend on our list to tell you about is hanging plants. Now, this has been kind of around for a while, but they're predicting that even more people will be gardening with trailing hanging plants. So what you might see out in the stores and the nurseries and whatnot is products and plants that actually support this. You're going to see a lot of plants that actually are meant to hang or trail, especially edible plants. So there are a lot out there, like there's blueberries, even strawberries, things that you can trail over in containers or any kind of hanging basket. So that's pretty fun to think about. Other ways to use kind of a hanging element is actually go vertical. So there are a lot of trailing hanging examples of plants out there. And again, some are edible, some are just annuals, some can be indoor plants. So a mix of any of those are on trend for 2024. The last trend that we want to tell you about is one that has actually been trending for a few years now, but it's predicted to trend even more. Now they're calling this Nature Calls, and it's basically the trend of a more sustainable type of garden that's less curated, has a lot more perennials, especially herbaceous perennials, and things to support pollinators. The idea of creating a garden that just has less resources or less inputs going into the garden and is able to sustain itself with more water-wise plants. Try planting carbon capturing plants like fast-growing trees or grasses. Another idea is to replace your lawn with ground cover. Now that one's been around for a bit, but you're going to probably start hearing and seeing more of that in the new year. At least that's what this list is predicting. So those are 5 of the trends we wanted to tell you about and see what you think. And we've got Sean back.
Hi.
Hi, Sean. Of all of the trends that we just covered, which one do you actually think that either you like or that you could see us implementing in our own small space right now?
I think I like and I could see in our small space of gardening right now are the trailing or hanging plants, using more of those for to maximize our growing space and get that vertical growth. I mean, there's so much unused space when we think about vertical growth versus just lateral, on the ground growth from the beds or even containers. So I think that'll be really fun for us to implement. Yeah, so what trend do you see us using in our garden this next year?
Well, we do have a small space still, and I love that you went with the vertical one. So I think I'm going to go with nature calls. And that just, to me, for us, that means just adding more perennials, which we're planning on doing anyway. And especially growing some new things from seed that will support pollinators, because that is, of course, part of all of that trend.
Now, we want to know what you think. Tell us down below in the comments which one of these trends you can see in your garden this next year.
And if you want to follow up with a little more information and dig deeper, go ahead and check out the 2 links that we have ready for you that will link out to the 2 different articles we referenced.
So our next topic is all about stumperies, and you might be asking yourself, what is a stumpery? Well, they're exactly what they sound like. They're new design features in a garden where they're built off dead or decaying tissues or materials where new gardens can grow. So stumperies first started back in the Victorian era, and now they're making a comeback, and it's really fun because stumperies basically encourage new growth and new plant material to thrive in dead, decaying old stumps, fallen down trees, or even tree snags. Now, working with the natural cycle of death and decay, stumperies actually have a lot of different benefits and can bring different benefits into your garden once you start building one of these out. And the first one is it encourages a lot of biodiversity with animals, with other plants and insects and fungi. Stumperies also promote sustainability and bringing more moisture into that microclimate where you're growing your garden. They also provide a lot of habitat for different kinds of wildlife, including insects, small animals, and birds. They're also great for creating new and interesting focal points throughout your garden. I can see stumperies adding so many new features to anybody's garden, and they can be big or they can be small depending on what you have already available in your garden. Now, do you think we could add stumpery to... Okay, would you ever consider us adding a stumpery to our garden?
I would actually. I just feel like they kind of need more space than maybe we have available right now in our temporary garden. But I love the idea of stumperies because it just seems like a fun way to incorporate a little bit of art and also like biodiversity, kind of creating, this whole new area. So I would say yes, but maybe not this next year. What do you think?
Okay, yeah, I can see us incorporating a stumpery into our garden. I think we could already do it. We could do it fairly soon and start the process of what we need to do to make that happen, just because there's already some stumps.
That's true.
I'm pretty sure there's dead stumps in the garden where we're at already. So we just need to get some permission from a certain somebody to make sure that we can do that. But I think I see us doing that.
Okay. Now we want to hear from you. What do you think about stumperies? Would you add one to your garden? Let us know in the comments below.
Yeah, and look down below in the description of this video for the Home Digest link to the article where you can find out a lot more about stumperies and how to incorporate it into your garden.
Next up, the Pantone Color of the Year for 2024. Now, why is this a big deal, you might be asking? Garden designers, interior designers, hair colorists, all kinds of fields actually look to Pantone every year to kind of determine the colors. So, of course, the garden industry looks to Pantone to see what kind of flower color might be popular next year. So Pantone has chosen, drumroll please, Peach Fuzz. Okay, peach. All right, it's kind of a soft, pretty, peachy color. Do you love it or do you hate it? Because not everybody loves the color peach. In seeking a hue that echoes our innate yearning for closeness and connection, we chose a color radiant with warmth and modern elegance. A shade that resonates with compassion, offers a tactile embrace, and effortlessly bridges the youthful with the timeless. Well, let's take a look at some flower colors, some of our favorite companies that offer this color of peach as of different types of flowering plants. From Proven Winners, one of our favorites, they have a flowering quince, this beautiful peachy colored flower that I could definitely see growing in any garden. It's beautiful. They have a Superbina. It's called Peachy Keen. Here's a yarrow for those of you that want a perennial to add to your garden. Firefly Peach Sky. That is beautiful. And offered from Pan American Seed, these are some cut flowers that they highlighted once this color was released. Here's a status. They call it Limonium Apricot. Next up is a beautiful stalk. Look at that soft color. They're in apricot. And here's a celosia or a celosia, however you just say it, and Selway Salmon. That's really pretty. And last up, 3 different bulb options from our favorite bulb supplier, Eden Brothers. Here's Bonanza. Here's a Champagne Ranunculus. Look at those gorgeous colors. And a beautiful dahlia called Labyrinth. So that's the Pantone color of the year, Peach Fuzz. And what you might see in the garden centers is a little displays or things of a lot of these plants grouped together in this color. Okay, Sean, so Peach Fuzz, love it or hate it?
Oh, I wouldn't really call it peach fuzz. Oh, sorry,
wow.
that's not what you meant.
Terrible.
Okay. So, I think it's really nice that they used Pantone colors every year to call out a specific color, to bring attention to it and to help highlight that color out in the industry of all the new colors out there, all the new plants with those colors out there. But really, to me, it doesn't make a big difference to me. I'm not really, it just doesn't do anything for me. I know what I like, and peach fuzz, the color, just isn't a color for me. What do you think?
I knew you were going to say that. I could have predicted that. Well, as somebody who's kind of obsessed with colors and kind of organizes their life by colors, I love having the color to kind of focus on. I'm kind of surprised a little bit that it's the peach color. I really kind of loved last year's color better, which was Viva Magenta, I believe they called it. Peach is a beautiful soft color. We actually have grown several things in this peach color. I could see us adding it in our garden. I mean, it's not like, oh my gosh, we have to make everything this color. It's, I don't know. There's some beautiful, I basically loved every single plant that I showed you as an example. Like, I could see all of those in our garden.
I can see them in our garden too. And also, I think a rose that we just got from Proven Winners to trial in our garden fits the description of the peach fuzz or the peach colors. So I'm really excited to have that and trial that in our garden.
That's so true. And we covered that on last week's Garden News Roundup. And that is a beautiful apricot honey rose.
Very fragrant.
So excited.
That's a very unique fragrance too. So.
Good call. Okay. Hey, we're on trend and we didn't even know it. So now we'd love to hear from you guys. What do you think about the color peach fuzz? Love it or hate it?
Let us know down below in the comments what you think about it, and if you have any plants in your garden already that actually are this color or look very similar to it. Now, for our next topic, we want to introduce you to new innovative products and the inventors behind them, and we want to make this a monthly segment. So this month, we want to talk to you about sea bites, and there are these little tiny guys right here. These are really cool. So these are tiny little clips that interlock to each other, and you can build these out to make them really, really big or really, really small, depending on what you need to help support the different growing systems like trellises or anything else that help your plants grow in tight spaces, or if you need to grow vertically. They will support a lot of different weight types out there too. So these can help you grow pumpkins or squash or even different kinds of tomato plants depending what your needs are. Now, Jason Ryder, the inventor of the Sea Bites, and his sister Morgan Ryder, who helps him just run the company and helps him with marketing, they came up with this great product starting back in 2020, and it actually was developed further before that. They started selling these online through their company called Thriving Design. And you can go to thrivingdesign.com to check these out and learn a lot more about them. Now, we had a chance to interview Jason and Morgan earlier this year on our IG Live, and we met them through the Great Grow Along. Now, if you want to watch that full interview, just click the link down below and follow it over to Instagram. So, Sea Bites, what a great product, right, honey?
Really cool. And real quick, I loved that interview. It was a lot of fun to meet a brother and sister team. That was really fun. They're so passionate about their product, and yeah, I just loved. They're really cool little tools. Yeah, I can see us using these this coming year, but we used them this last year to grow our glads. Yeah, we used them. They were really helpful for our glads, and these clip right onto those green garden stakes that we all have. Or bamboo ones. Or bamboo, or anything circular. So like, you can really design a lot of creative ways to hold your plants up, which is what we did, or kind of protect around them. Yeah, a lot of options. You can have a trellis system that goes just up. You can have a trellis system that goes across, or multiple layers. Sky's the limit. Anything's possible. Really. And you guys tell us in the comments if either you've ever tried using sea bites before or how you could use them in your garden.
And if you want to know more about sea bites, click the link down below in the description.
Now for the top 5 garden topics watched on our channel by you this past week.
First was which seeds can be sown in the winter. Next was how to overwinter your potted mums.
After that was deadheading your gladiolus, which was a short, which is cool. People are still doing that. After that was pruning panicle hydrangeas in the colder weather.
And the 5th most watched topic this week was drilling holes in plastic containers.
Those sound a little similar to last week.
Yeah, they do. It's really good to see from last week to this week that these 5 topics are still a major focus of interest. So that's it for this week's Garden Roundup. Make sure to comment down below on all the different topics that we covered today. And make sure to like and subscribe so you get updates on all our new garden content.
And stay tuned. We'll have a new Garden News Weekly Roundup coming at you next week.
Until then, see you later.
Bye.